Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I reckon we're going to get back into regular frequency with the Pies Footy Show. I think we're getting close enough to the season to put together some news on a weekly basis by way of the Pies Footy Show. Plenty to cover tonight, plenty to discuss, many open conversations. We've got some videos to watch, some presses, a whole bunch of things that we can cover. So it'll be a good one. So strap in, grab what you got to grab, have your dinner, tell your missus or your boyfriend for that matter that you've got a show that's not on Netflix to attend to. So what are we going to talk about today? What have we got? Give me 1 second. What have I got on the agenda? Where should we start? Well, let's start with something obvious. Tomorrow is another main training session for Collingwood. It usually runs for 3 hours on a Friday. So if there's anybody in particular that you guys want me to cover and have a spotlight on tomorrow, let me know. We'll try and cover as much as we can, hoping we can get more match simulation as well and give you guys a little bit more feedback. Like I said, I'm normally there once a week, so try and make the most of it while we're there. Yeah. I mean, what else is going on? Shama, Chris, let's go champ. Hotkey. Yeah. Dog. Yeah, that was an interesting one, wasn't it? Andreas Tikanete. What's going on, brother? What's going on? Shano, how are ya? Yasu, Stefanos. Tomo, big dog. You're going to come join the Pies Footy Run Club. That's one thing I actually do want to bring up. So I'm actually pretty keen on getting the Run Club going next Sunday. So the idea will be we meet at a set destination and we go for a run, whether it be 5K or 10K. It depends on the general running capacity of who's coming with us, depending on the demographic. But usually these run clubs, the ones where you're roaming around the streets, they're pretty low key in the sense that you're running like a 6-minute pace, which isn't fast at all. It's a talking pace of 5 kilometers. Then we end up at a cafe or a pub or wherever the roads take us, right? So I'll get something out, formally get something out in the next few days. And there seems to be enough interest to have at least a crew of 10, 15, 20, depending on the location. And hopefully we can make this something that happens every Sunday, especially during while the weather is elite. It's something we'll probably look to implement. And then maybe even during the season, we can organize runs and then go to the pub, watch the game or whatever it may be. So yeah, Jimbo, so you're interested in seeing how Side is going. From all accounts, is killing it. Where does he fit in this season? Well, that can be our first talking point tonight, can't it? With Still Sidebottom. I haven't noticed Still Sidebottom a great deal in preseason just yet, but these types of players kind of just get a hallway pass at the moment because they've done what they've done for such a long time. So I'm not putting too many eggs in my basket when it comes to investing in and wanting to know how Steely is performing. What matters with players like Sidebottom, Pendlebury, Coxie, Hoskin Elliott, Tom Mitchell is what they do when the chips are down in an official match. The preseason, the offseason is always for the younger players and the mid-tier players that are trying to break into the upper echelons of the squad. So we're looking at players like Reef McInnes. That's been a massive subject in this preseason so far. Finlay McRae still finds a way to be in the conversation. We've got Harry Di Matteo, who hasn't played at AFL level yet, so people are putting the telescope on him. And then you've got players like Patrick Lipinski. Like he's a good role player, but can he be anything more than that, or is that just what he is? And that's fine. Josh Dacos is Josh Dacos. I don't really know. There's also an emphasis on watching players who are having positional changes, role changes. So where's Josh Dacos going to end? Is he going to be on the wing? Is he going to be in the midfield? Right now he's training at half back. So that seems to be the obvious answer. And then usually the players who are obviously in rehab, the rehab group, are the ones you want to keep an eye on. So Degoe, Nick Dacos, Tom Mitchell, who's on the bike. I'd say what's important to note with these rehab groups is they might be in the rehab group, but there are situations where these players are just managing their load. And then what happens is they might jump into rehab group for while the team does this drill. But then when there's match simulation or match practice, then these players will go on and actually participate. Like Degoe participated in some match simulation early in the week, but he's missing a lot of the drills where it's short and sharp hand passes and really gets the hips working, the hips and the groin. So that's been an observation of mine, and not an observation of mine, but also it's just sort of the way you want to try bleed your players back into the system. You don't just fully integrate them back in. And that's the thing with Tom Mitchell. I mean, we don't know what happens behind closed doors, but it seemed like with Tom Mitchell, going to training, it looked like he was fully integrated back into training as soon as preseason began, when all the younger lads were there. Yes, maybe his plantar fascia was fully healed, but there is that need to rebuild that conditioning to the feet, especially. What can you do? I mean, he probably had an off season and a preseason during the season, so maybe that's the argument there. I would say sometimes it's just unfortunate, right? It's a little bit unfortunate, isn't it? What else we got? Let's see. Atkinson. Hi, Chris. How you going? Thanks, Ian. Is it Ian? I Atkinson. Here's one for you. Let's see. What have you got here, Andreas? Here's one for you. Tom Mitchell didn't get fit for the first few rounds. Josh Dacos takes inside role, mid role before Perryman. Thoughts? It's possible. It's very, very well possible that Josh Dacos could morph into that role. Does he have an inside body bone in his body? I don't know. I think Perryman is more defensively minded and would fit that specific role we're looking for in the midfield better than what Josh Dacos could offer. It's not happening right now. Maybe someone who fits that a little bit better is Bo McCreary. Is there a world where he could become a defensively minded midfielder? I know he's an offensive player, but he's a pressure forward who plays higher up the ground and defends very well for the side. Does he use the ball as well as Harry Perryman? God no. So you need to fix that, right? Perryman plays off half back and Dan goes through the middle. Yeah. Yeah. The good thing is with these hypotheticals is they're not unrealistic, and it's only a good thing. Like when things aren't going well, we can mix it up and we can have these conversations. G'day, mate. Are you talking about Ed Allen? You're talking about Ed Allen, aren't you, Arlo? So with Ed Allen, the teams are mixed, right? Like they split the groups evenly so that you might have your better forwards in one side versus your better defenders on the other side. But I would dare say Ed is very close to starting this year. Yeah, this is something we saw last year, early in the year, and then he got concussed against Carlton, and then didn't do amazingly when he came back when he had stints in the midfield. I just think he could be that role player that just does it so well that you can't take him out of the role that he plays. That's how I feel with Bo right now, especially now that we have Houston, Perryman. We keep talking about McGuan coming in next year. There's less. I feel like there's less of a need. Ed Allen as well, of course, right? There's less of a need for Bo McCreary to do a job in the midfield. Let him just do what he does best in the forward line now, I think, and maybe just get Bo to focus on kicking goals. So yeah, Bo will roll into the stoppages, but that's as that high half forward. So that's what he does best. I think Bo playing in the center bounce isn't needed anymore at this moment. Peter, Josh Dacos should be off halfback. Allen plays inside mid. I don't like Allen on a wing. He looked very true when he played against Fremantle, albeit his first game. He didn't look lost. It felt like he just didn't have the running capacity to keep up with, is it Jeremy Sharp or Harry Sharp from Fremantle, who was a very good winger within himself, within his own right. And then when he played against, the thing is, when he went back to the VFL, he had the taste at AFL level, and then he had a really good stretch in the VFL, took that confidence into that game against Melbourne. Fly moves a lot of the magnets to make sure Ed Allen plays midfield, pure midfield, and confidence goes a long way. When you come into the side and you get thrusted on as a winger, not a makeshift winger, but not your primary position, or you get shifted as to a high half forward flanker, then maybe you don't feel as confident as when Fly McRae says, "Hey mate, your best position is midfield. You're an on-baller. I know you're young, but we're going to give you the keys to the midfield this game against Melbourne." That's what they did with Ed Allen. And I think it was only one game, but it's sort of catapulted Ed Allen into this conversation to where he is today. But I'm always mindful, like, we can't overhype him like we did with Finlay McRae. We have a responsibility not to overhype these guys. Let them cook. Let them do their thing. Don't get too overexcited unless they start to show this form in official matches against AFL sides. Bunch of comments, guys. I'm trying to keep up. Ads are coming in your live very fast. Let me check. So I always have it on the recommended feature. Let me just double check. Give me 1 second, guys. I don't want you to be getting destroyed by ads. While I'm doing that, guys, I'm sure most of you would have seen that I am doing a giveaway for a Collingwood Clash Guernsey. And all you need to do... no, it's not made for kids. Hold on. Save. All you have to do to be eligible for this giveaway next Wednesday on the live stream, I think it's next Wednesday at 7 p.m. I've had it set on, is join the mailing list and follow Pies Footy on Instagram. So let me copy that. Give me 1 second. So if you want to be, and not only the Guernsey will be in your size, and you can pick your favorite number and I'll order it. Whether I drop it off to you or just get it delivered to your address, we can talk about the nitty-gritty when you win. So that's the link you need to click to add yourself to the email list to be eligible to win the 2025 Collingwood Clash Guernsey with your number in your size. Go Pies. Yeah, the setting for the ads should be as per. Yeah, this is a good shout. Remember to be the bargain pickup of the year. Watching the lads last Friday with McStay, Myercheck, and Membry all in the same forward line, it just seemed like a nightmare. When the ball slowed up on the wing just outside the forward 50, you could see the forwards putting on good screens for each other. And then you see McStay marking tall and high, and it just looked good. It looked really good. So, yeah, hopefully this, we capitalize on this little delisted free agency acquisition. St Kilda didn't see him in their next premiership window, which is interesting, right? Which is interesting because who's to say St Kilda can't rebound into top 4 contention this year. Like, that's premiership window conversations, isn't it? So why not give him an extra year or 2 or whatever it may be? I think they were only offering him guys, remind me, St Kilda only offered him a 1 year, whereas we offered 2 years. I believe that's what it is. Benny, you had a question as well. Let me just try. Question. It was very late last season when Flyer made changes, too little too late in games. Does he implement changes sooner? Interesting to see what happens in those situations. Great question. With how emotionally aware Fly is, you'd like to think in the offseason he looked at some decisions or non-decisions he made last year and says, all right, I didn't make the move quick enough here. I didn't see this early enough, or I persisted with this for too long. We've spoken about many of these variables gone by in the past. So yeah, you'd like to think so. You'd like to think so. Shano, I'm liking the look of Will Hayes at training. He is very light, but looks to have some talent. Yeah, he's a nice little, initially, a nice top up to what our small forward department looks like right now. What are some of my observations live at training? Like, if I want to be critical, which is, it's common when you're young, like when you're new to like a high pressure environment like the AFL, starting with preseason training at an AFL club, is he doesn't always look for a short option. He sort of just slows down the play and goes long, plays it safe. He's just playing it safe at the moment at times. But then you've got also clips where he's taking 3-4 bounces, taking on the game when there's grass to cover. So yeah, hard to make observations. Charlie West has been good as well. Did really well in some snippets, once again, in some match simulation type of drills. We know Reef McInnes is dominating the preseason. I still think there's things he can work on, and I think before we before we appreciate what is happening with Reef McInnes right now, we need him to prove that he can do what he's doing at AFL level. Peter Nutt with a big call. I'm a massive rap on Harry Demeter, but I'm looking past him as he has zero wow factor. He's fast. So he does have some sort of wow factor. Do you think we will see Demeter and Ed Allen in the Collingwood team this year? It's very likely, Chris. Do you think so? I think Ed Allen's obviously much closer than Demeter, though. So this is someone who actually I'm going to put a focus on tomorrow. I'll try my best to get as much footage on this man as possible, but everyone's talking about Isaac Quaynor, Reef McInnes, Dan Houston, Perryman, Josh Dacos. Don't forget, Will Parker had also played a really good game against the Ds, if not just as good as Ed Allen, albeit different positions and different thirds of the field. But this is someone who will definitely be saying, hey, don't forget about me, Collingwood fans. Like, I'm a Category B rookie, and I played a handful of games after having basically zero AFL preseason going into the official season. So I reckon let's maybe keep a closer eye on Will Parker, because Flyer and the selection panel clearly like a lot of things about what he brings to the team. So I'll try to get some more on him tomorrow. I'll try my best. Parker's going to be a gun. Yep. All right, let's have a look at the presser from Darcy Cameron. Yesterday it was. Brazzy Maynard always looks like a tank, doesn't he, Little Tops? He's just born. He came out of the womb with the fucking rig on him. All right, we'll chuck on this presser. That ain't it. Get the volume on.
In the club, sort of sussing out what we're about at the moment.
Just give me a thumbs up in the chat if you can hear the sound.
Fly introduced him this morning, and he's just going to be around the club.
Joel Selwood was down here today. What's he doing?
He's just hovering around the club, sort of sussing out where we're about at the moment. Fly introduced him this morning, and he's just going to be around the club for the next, just the day, I think.
What are you about?
I don't know, we're about winning, I guess. So we're trying to get back to winning. We want to, make up for last year. We obviously didn't make the top 8, and it was quite a depressing September watching all the other teams compete at that time of year. And we want to get back to where we think we belong. So a bit of a wake-up call, I think, last year was. And we'll take the learnings from that and go forward, keep moving forward.
How much of a driver is that? What happened last year? How much have you discussed as a group?
Oh, yeah, we've discussed a little bit, but a lot of it, sorry. And it is a big drive. Like I said, it's quite flattening sitting there in September. You don't want to.
So I reckon we'll pause it as each conversation goes. So Joel Selwood coming in as like a fly on the wall, mind the pun, and trying to give the club and team some pointers on getting back to winning ways. To be fair, could you have anyone better than Joel Selwood to come into your club, a perpetual winner? If he can give us a word or two of advice, I don't know if it's going to take his mouth or his actions or I don't know. Like, how long was he only there for the day? Like, how much wisdom can he give these guys in the space of a couple hours? Do they look at him and respect him in the same way that they would respect a retired Collingwood player, having most of these players have played against Joel Selwood already in the past? So, look, we don't know everything, but it is. Look, they're leaving no stone unturned at Collingwood to ensure that going into 2025, they have explored all resources to try and get back to winning ways. So these little things like bringing Joel Selwood to the club, even though he kind of owns us, is good. It's proactive and it's not reactive. We want to know how to win and get back to winning ways as soon as possible. So, yeah, interesting little move there by the Pies.
You don't want to be there, not in the 8. And, it's fueled a lot of fire for a lot of the boys, and we're looking forward to making amends.
It's pre-season, probably 5 or 6 weeks longer than last week, and how deep you went when you won the flag. Do you feel fresher this time around compared to what you were say this time last year?
Yeah, maybe. I felt pretty fresh personally at this time last year, but I think for a lot of boys, they give them a bit more of an opportunity to get better match fitness or their body's right. And you just have to look at our training standards over the last few weeks. I feel like we're shaping up for a really good 2025. Yeah, really well. All the new boys have settled in seamlessly. In Pez, young boys, Tim Membry, they're all doing really well.
How much did he add to the group?
Yeah, a lot. All of them can. Pez, he's been training really well. Dan's been going really well. Same with Tim. But all the young boys, they're putting their best foot forward as well. It's really exciting.
Do you feel you're a better side this year than you were last year?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I just have to. You look at our list. I think we've got a lot of depth throughout it. A lot of young boys coming through too, putting their hands up. So it's really exciting.
It's also a great point to make is clearly the list is better than what it was in 2023. The question is, can we piece it all together with these new additions to the puzzle? And can we recapture some sort of desire that we had going into 23? Can the old boys like Pendles and Sardi run it back one more time and show that the hunt that they had in 23? Nick Dacos is obviously a better player than what he was in 23. Josh Dacos is better than what he was in 23. You add Perryman, you add 2-time All-Australian Houston. Tim Membry gives us a different look going forward. Mason Cox has been good. Darcy Cameron is a better player than what he was in 23. Bobby Hill, I would say slightly improved this year had he not been so inaccurate and unselfish in front of goals. He could have had a even better year. Who else improved from the squad? Will you bleed in players like Will Parker? Reece McInnes played well in the forward when he played. Lockie Schultz will probably be better than last year. And then the players you want to see bounce back are players like Darcy Moore. You want Jordan De Goey to be on the field. You want Tom Mitchell to be that wombat in the midfield. So, yeah, definitely a better list. It's just a matter of can we put it together.
Do you know what the Dacos brothers are at with their modified sessions today? Do you know how they're tracking?
They're both running now. I know that Josh, I think he's back into training, full training next week, and Nick's progressing really well.
Compared to some of the young boys before, who were some players that we can keep an eye on this year?
All three of them have gone really well, but Will Hayes has been exciting a lot of the club, the way he's been training. And he's doing really well.
Your old mate Tommy Mitchell, how's he travelling down to Selwood this pre-season with setbacks? How's he holding up?
Yeah, good. He's really positive around the club still, and I think he's running either today or yesterday for the first time in a few weeks since getting that stress fracture. So looking forward to seeing him back out on track.
That's really good to hear as well, with Tom Mitchell looking to get some sort of running capacity in. So I'll make note of that for tomorrow. I'm sure, hopefully, we can see Tom Mitchell running in the flesh, running at AIA. What his return to play will probably be an extended. They'll nurse him through the whole process. It probably won't be something where we're all expecting Tom Mitchell to return and play an opening round. You'd almost say this is an excuse to play Ed Allen opening round and try and lock down that midfield spot that has been left void by Tom Mitchell. We've seen a lot from Ned Long. We've seen a lot from Lockie Sullivan. Jack Bytel has been delisted. So who else do you play before you play Ed Allen if Tom Mitchell's not available? That's like for like. Like Ed Allen is not necessarily doesn't have a high as contested ball rate as Tom Mitchell, but he can do what Tom Mitchell doesn't do very well is he can have a good outside game and can be really good inside as well. Maybe not as good as Tom Mitchell, but good enough. Whereas besides those players I mentioned, Ned Long, no outside game. Lockie Sullivan, be intrigued to see how he goes, but I think he's nursing a calf at the moment. So who knows when he gets back. He's doing a lot of his work with the rehab group at the moment. Yeah. All eyes on Perryman and Ed Allen. Andreas, what did you say? Opening round needs to be 110% the strongest possible, most experienced team playing, because there's always going to be one change when Dan Houston comes in the week after. Yeah, good point. Yep. Most experienced side. So there's probably a hole in the back line, and that probably means there's an opportunity for Will Parker, right? Will Parker, Jacob Ryan, Di Mattia. Although Di Mattia has said he wants to play on the wing. It'll be interesting to see who gets that spot at halfback, along with Josh Dacos, you'd assume, in opening round. Our top 25 players are better than any other clubs. If we have limited injuries this season, then we'll be looking to hold the cup. Mate, I'd love to hold that cup again. That would be amazing. All right, keep it rolling. TJ as well. Yes, sorry, TJ. TJ's another smoky, I reckon, for this year. I reckon he gets a couple games before midway through the year.
How frustrating is this, latest setback being for him and his mate?
Yeah, you feel for him because he does everything right, and he works so hard around the club and outside of the club as well. And he's a big in for us. So, but he's handled it really well. He just takes it in stride, and we're looking forward to getting him back also.
We saw Nathan Murphy out there before, obviously, with Moses last year. Is Reef going to be that kind of player to take his role?
Yeah, hopefully. Murph was obviously a really big out for us, but and you can't replace a person like Nathan Murphy. But Reef's doing a really good job of bringing his strengths. He's training really well, and yeah, that move down back is looking really good for him. He's just sort of the bully guy. We get to sort of make fun out of him around the club, and it's he's good for a laugh. He's taking care of Oppo and presenting, training, and it's good to still have him here because he's an energy whip for us, and we love him.
So, just Darcy making some observations on how Reef is going. He said he's doing well. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but we just have to wait and see if he can sort of get this training form into a real match, right? And good to hear that Murph is doing some role at Collingwood. I think it's to do with opposition analysis and presentations at training.
Is that a good role for him? It seems like he's a pretty sharp kind of guy and reads tactically quite well. So he well suited to that.
Well, I'm not sure about that, but it wasn't my call.
Just Hayden Skipworth, is he still calling the shots, or does Craig kind of come more back into the taking the reins again now?
Yeah, Fly's obviously taken over. It's into the new year, and time for the serious stuff. I haven't gone to any games this year, but I've been keeping a close eye on it back home. I was going to say something, but no, I haven't got anything for you there, mate. Sorry.
Just footy wise, if Mason's not open, jumped off over videos, but what's it like this year, run wise? It's going to be everybody together. You're going to take the load. How's that looking?
We haven't really spoke about it much just as yet, but no, hopefully, sort of what it looked like last year. I feel like I worked really well with Mason, but that's not my call at the end of the day. So he's been training really well this preseason, and obviously all our love goes out to him and his family at the moment. So looking forward to getting him back.
What do you made of Oscar Steen? I think last year was a frustrating one for him, but he seems to be moving pretty well.
Yeah, he's looking really good at the moment. He's put on a bit of size. He's training really well. He's a very competitive guy, and so is Big Roo, Leroy Smith. They're both doing really well at the moment.
There you go. I don't know if Book is in DC, does a whole lot of the press. I think that may have been one of his first. I'm not too sure. But so Mason Cox has gone back to America for personal reasons with his family, I would assume. So while he's away, while there is something unfortunate happening in Cox's life, that does mean there's an opportunity for Oscar Steen and Big Illaroo to get their tails up at training and really try prove a point and say, hey, I'm putting my hand up for opening round. We don't know when Cox is coming back and if his fitness will take a hit. Who knows? Those are questions that cannot be answered right now. But what can be answered is, hey, Steen and Big Roo, while Coxie's not at training, they're going to get more of a run in the ruck encounters, especially in match simulation. So it seems like Oscar Steen is running really well at training. He's looking strong. Big Roo looked really good before the Christmas break. So there's a silver lining there in Mason Cox's unfortunate situation. So Oscar Steen's going to be on the radar. Big Illaroo Smith's going to be on the radar tomorrow, as far as who I'll be keeping a spotlight on. Will Parker and TJ as well is going to be a good one to keep an eye on. And Tom Mitchell, is he running? Where is he at? So I don't know if there's anybody else you want me to keep an eye on, but that's 5 players already. I'd like to think that these players probably haven't got as much of a spotlight in the preseason so far, barring Illaroo's had some raps and Oscar Steen, probably not so much. TJ, not so much. Cox we just spoke about. Parker, not so much either. Yeah, don't know if putting in Markov over the young blokes is wise. We do need to try and hit the lottery with some of these younger players and get them playing consistent footy for the Pies in the first team, right? Just a reminder for those who are joining now, by the way, we have a giveaway for a Clash Guernsey, and all you need to do to be in the running for the giveaway next week is click on this link, join the mailing list, and Also follow Pies Footy on Instagram. It's pies_footy. So if you get in the running to win a Clash Guernsey in your size with your favorite number, and that will be announced next week on a live stream on the channel. I think it's Wednesday night. We'll be able to confirm that. So this mailing list as well, by joining the mailing list, you'll be in the know for events, giveaways, and I'm also sending weekly emails on videos that I've already posted and giving you like pretty much a blog version. And then I'll give you the link for the video as well. So there will be weekly wrap ups and all that sort of stuff. A bunch of content to cover. I'm also looking forward to doing a tipping competition. So I think in the Pies Footy Show in season, we'll have a set allotment of time for a segment where we do some tipping for the week. And then we will also check the results on who's leading the tipping tally. There will be a prize. I'm thinking I'm going to put forward $300, winner takes all. $300 if you want to join. It's free. And if you win at the end of the year, if you get the most tips right and you're Nostradamus, then you will win $300. So if you want to be in the know for that, join the mailing list. You also automatically get into the giveaway for the Guernsey next week, if you are following Pies Footy on Instagram as well. So join that mailing list. There's also a Discord for more touch points. If you can't get enough Pies Footy, well, I'll share with you the Discord link as well. We've got about 40 members in the Discord now. So join that link there if you also want to join the Discord and join the conversation. So, yep. You already got the Clash kit for next year, Kev. Good man. That's a real fan. Good man. Love you, Kev. Love you, Kev. What else have we got? Let's share this tab. So Port Adelaide have made an interesting play going into season 2025, round one. Obviously, they don't play opening round. So an interesting stat. Clubs that played in the inaugural opening round last year had a 3-1 record the next week against sides that are coming off a bye. So the only team that didn't win the following week after the bye was Collingwood, wasn't it? Everybody else won in opening round besides Collingwood, if I'm not mistaken. So what are Port Adelaide doing in preparation for their clash against Collingwood in round one? Port Adelaide will hold its latest ever AFL internal trial to help it prepare for round one against Collingwood. An intra-club game has traditionally been the Powers' first summer fixture, but Port has scheduled this year's after 2 pre-season clashes versus other clubs to ensure it plays the week before tackling the match-hardened Magpies at the MCG. The Powers' internal trial is on Friday, March 7, 2 days before Collingwood's opening round clash with GWS in Sydney. There you go. So, there you go. So basically, they're going to play a game as close to what opening round is. So they're going to play as close to the opening round fixture and then tie that into playing Collingwood the following week. Whereas most clubs probably are having an intra-club much earlier in that preceding week going into round one for those who aren't playing in opening round. So they play on the Friday and then they'll play 8 days later after Collingwood against Collingwood on the Saturday night. I think Collingwood are playing Sunday against GWS in opening round. The Power, which has held its internal trials in January and February since entering the AFL in 1997, hopes the tweak will help it maintain the competitive juices in the lead up to the season and reduce any advantage Collingwood may have from playing during opening round. The AFL introduced opening round last season to help grow the game in New South Wales and Queensland, which hosted the week's only 4 matches. Clubs that featured in it had a 3-1 record next week's side against that were coming off a bye. Is that right? I thought Collingwood lost the following week and so did Brisbane. So is this even accurate reporting? Don't know. Brisbane was the only opening round side that lost to a team that had an extra week off, falling to Fremantle and Perth. Didn't Collingwood lose to... We lost to GWS and then we lost to Sydney. No, the next week. Do I think Darcy Cameron can take over Maxi Gawn this year as an All-Australian ruckman? Sure. I mean, based on the fact that Gawny's only getting older, right? And Darcy Cameron is only getting better. Like, I would say Darcy Cameron improved by at least 20% from 2023 to 2024. He just swallowed every aerial contest. Every time it came back his way, he just intercepted the ball. He was unreal. He was unreal. Yeah, Sydney and Saints, that's right. And we have another article that I'd like to share. I think this one was from, let's see, SCN, Josh Jenkins. Josh Jenkins has highlighted let me take this off. Josh Jenkins has highlighted exactly what he thinks Collingwood must get back to if they're to challenge from premiership in 2025. He thinks that the aspect of their game that the Pies must get far again is their ability to score from turnovers off half-back. We've spoken about how good Collingwood have been or were when it came to defensive half ball movement in 23 and 22. We were the number one team across the 2 seasons. We were bottom 4 in 2024. So that was one of the massive differences. Even though we improved our forward half game, our back half game took too much of a hit because this guy here, Nick Dacos, got thrusted into the midfield. Isaac Quaynor didn't play as well. Josh Dacos didn't get moved to halfback early enough. And Jack Chris didn't play off halfback at all in 2024. Whereas in 2023, he was a dangerous tandem with old mate Whisper Nicky Dacos in that finals series. Collingwood's ability to turn defense into attack was a hallmark of their 2022 and 2023 campaign. And with the addition of 2-time All-Australian Dan Houston this offseason, Jenkins thinks Craig McRae must get the weapon firing once again. Look, if you add Dan Houston to the side, you'd like to think how ball movement improves incredibly. I mean, let's check something out. Let's go to Wheelo. I'm pretty sure Port were pretty damn good at moving off halfback, and they had Kane Farrell, they had Dan Houston last year. So let's check team stats. How were Port Adelaide from ball movement? I think Port were pretty good with ball movement. They just got the ball also moved too easily against them. So they were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They were top 8 when it came to ball movement. What about the differential? Differential probably tells us a good story. Yeah, about 8. Okay. Not elite, but you do need more than just one player. Like, let's be real. You do need a number of players. You need the system to work. How did they go? I'm pretty sure they were moved pretty well. They were moved against pretty easily. No? Okay, they became a bit more stubborn. I remember early in the season they were a little bit vulnerable, but that's okay. How were they off turnover? All right. Interesting. Let's go back to this article. Chaos run from the back is crucial. Will we be able to beat the Roos this year? Close call in 24. You know what? Anything's possible in 2025 after what we saw with bloody North and Collingwood in that game. I'm just hoping for less games to be like that this year because not good for my heart. Heart no good. Okay, they need to stop thinking about anything other than the 2023 domination of the halfback turnover game. So it's a catch-22 with this, right? Because while we weren't great at executing this in 24, there also is an element of the rest of the league caught up. They became better at defending us off the halfback, and they did their research. And they also got better themselves at moving the ball off halfback. They put a whole preseason into the fine print of what got Collingwood the flag in 23. Think about Collingwood's premiership season. That was such a weapon for them. And they have acquired another weapon at space in Dan Houston, which is why I was so keen on any club that was into him going after him last off season. Think about 2023, the ball would be turned over at half back and you'd see Jack Crisp, DeGoey, Dacos and Pendles. Now Houston charging through the middle of the ground with handballs, and then kicked out the back to Jamie Elliott and Bobby and Brody. So this worked so well because we were able to be chaotic through the corridor. But once again, I feel like in 24, there was an element of teams defending us and clogging the corridor, which would stop us many times getting through the middle. And then that's why if you look at our conversion going inside 50, our conversion going inside 50 in 2024 was actually elite. We just didn't get the ball in there enough. So I can show you here. Let's go to 23 just to have that as a starting point. Let's go. I think it's like scoring shots per inside 50. There we go. So we were top 5 shots. Is that scoring shots? Shots, scores. Let me check the legend here. 1 second. Yeah, scoring shots. So we were number 2 for goals. So 1 in 4 times we would score going inside 50 because we're able to get the ball out the back so many times. Jamie Elliott, Bo McCreary, Bobby Hill running downhill and getting those shots. Yeah, Joe the Goose out the back, right? Scoring shots per inside 50, we would 45% of the time get inside 50 and score. We'd have a shot on goal inside 50. Once the ball went inside 50, 48% of the time. We go to and one more important stat to make a case in a moment is our inside 50s. Where are you? We were middle of the pack, not great. All right. What? That's 10, I think. 10. Nearly middle of the pack. We go to 2024. All right. Our inside 50s, we averaged just under 50. We're a little bit worse than the year before. This got better towards the back end of the year. This was horrible after we played Gold Coast, Essendon, Geelong. Gold Coast, Essendon, Geelong, and someone else. Gold Coast, Essendon, Geelong. Who was the other team that fucking made a mockery of us in that period? It wasn't Melbourne, wasn't St Kilda. Hawthorn. How can I forget? See, Hawthorn never comes to mind when I think about that 4-game stretch. I always think Gold Coast, Essendon, Geelong. Hawthorn did us so bad that I had completely erased it out of my memory. Anyhow, I digress. So we look at 2024. We're still the number 1 side for scoring shots per inside 50. We're still top 5 for goals per inside 50. We just didn't get it in there enough. And we were probably conceding far too many in 2020. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7th worst side when it comes to inside 50s. What about opposition averages? Yeah. Okay. So there you go. So we didn't get the ball enough inside 50 compared to 2023. However, in 2024, our ball movement going and getting the ball inside 50 and resulting in a score was still good. It's just we didn't get it enough. Didn't get it into our forward 50 enough times compared to 2023. Hopefully that makes sense. All right, let's get back here. The game was made so easy for their forwards who on paper aren't a match-winning forward line, but the way they were able to turn the ball over and then getting it in the hands of their great decision makers, life was made very easy for them. Collingwood's brilliance off turnover in 22 and 23 coincided with that aspect of both defense and attack becoming perhaps the most important aspect of winning games of footy, and Jenkins foresees that still being the case in 25. I still think the turnover game is going to be the most prominent factor in footy. Well, I'm pretty sure, Jenko, that scores from turnover is the main source of where you get your scores from. Let me check. Pretty sure. Yeah. So the best team from turnover last year was Sydney. They averaged nearly 10 goals from turnover, more than stoppages and more than anything else. Well, there's three score sources: stoppages, turnover, and kick-ins. Yep, that's it. Sorry, I didn't share it. Sorry, guys. So you can see here, number one side in turnover, Sydney last year nearly averaged 10 goals a game. So it is still the main source. Like stoppages are important, but it's what can you do from turnover, and particularly what can you do from turnover at halfback? How quickly can you rebound and get the ball through the corridor inside 50 for some easy shots on goal out the back? All right. What else has Jenko got to say? That's creating turnovers and being able to score off those turnovers. The reason you hear teams say don't kick it short inside 50, if you're not sure, is because it's so hard to defend the turnover, and that's what Collingwood were so brilliant at. So Josh Jenkins there is just pointing out, if you kick it shallow inside 50 and it doesn't work out for you guys, it can rebound quite quickly and go against you. Jenkins also called on the Pies to start blooding some more youth, including midfielder Ed Allen, and to keep trusting Darcy Cameron in a key role in his stop, start, keep assessment of the club. There you go. Yeah. All right. So that's that. And we have one more article that we can talk about. Jake Nile from The Age talking about Dacos. Collingwood's delicate handling of their most precious on-field asset, Nick Dacos, was reflected in the non-appearance of the precocious superstar at a 2-hour plus training session at the club's headquarters on Wednesday, so yesterday. Dacos was confined to running indoors, but according to Magpies, has been able to change directions and move laterally and is progressing steadily in his convalescence from injury, having been running in a straight line at training in recent sessions. Should we be concerned yet? Probably not. Should we have the expectation that he makes opening round? I don't know. Given the complexities and the ambiguity of plantar fasciitis, I just want him to get it right. And if it means he misses a couple games to start the year, then it is what it is, truly. Younger Dacos did not take part in skills drills or unlimited versions of match simulation, was simply a case of treating his dancing feet. Afflicted with plantar fasciitis, which his famed father, Peter, endured in the late 80s with a high degree of care. Premierships cannot be won in January or February, but they can be lost, as AFL clubs say. Collingwood, if follows, are exercising caution. If not, kid gloves in their handling of both Nick Dacos, arguably their next most influential midfielder, Jordan De Goey. Two players we just have to err on the side of caution when it comes to their injuries, especially Jordan De Goey with his history. Just get it right. Just get it right. If it means we have to compensate in the first couple games, and so be it. Like we've got to move forward and perform to a acceptable level without Nick Dacos and maybe even Jordan De Goey. What other alternative do we have to do? Do we have? We have to accept that there is a reality that maybe one or both of them don't make it to opening round, right? For Collingwood's fiercest foe, Carlton, the same high stakes apply to their similarly critical duo of Charlie Kerner and Sam Walsh. Knee and ankle and hamstring strain. Man, isn't that club going through it at the moment with their president as well? So interesting, that one, innit? It's good. It's good to see. Good to not have Collingwood in the spotlight every off season. Particularly, it's good to not see them in trouble this year. So positive. That's a positive. Besides some of the niggles that our players are being dealt with at the moment, we don't have to worry about any off-field drama at the moment. So, yeah. Anyways, I think we'll leave that for today. The Pies Footy Show in season will be running on Tuesdays at around 7. I think you guys prefer 7 p.m. You get a chance to settle in at home. I can completely understand that. So we'll look to do that more consistently on Tuesdays. So that is one of the shows that will be locked in for 2025. We'll pretty much just cover any of the news. We'll go to the Collingwood website, watch videos, cover the Collingwood tipping, and everything else in between. So, yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time. Go Pies.